but was told it would be at least a half hour before anyone would arrive. Shag Harbor resident Norman Smith had seen the flashing sirens of the two Mounties pass by their house earlier, and he and his father Wilfred had followed them down to the waterfront to see what the commotion was. It was Norman who suggested that while everyone was waiting for the Coast Guard to arrive, they could call his uncle, Lawrence Smith, a fisherman, and use his boat. Within 10 minutes, Smith and fellow fisherman Bradford Shand arrived. They unmoored their boats and took the Mounties and a crew of volunteers out with them into the harbor. They searched in the dark for any sign of wreckage or debris, using powerful searchlights equipped to the front of the boat, but were unable to spot anything save for a long and thick streak of yellow-orange foam floating atop the water, which the Coast Guard would later corroborate seeing as well. The substance was oily to the touch, and no one on either boat could recall encountering anything like it. Norman remembers the distinct smell of sulfur in the air. Ultimately, though, they came up empty that night. Norman returned the next day to find their crew of 4 divers brought in by the Canadian Navy were scouring the harbor, scanning the depths for any crash material. The presence of the Navy divers and the Mounties' continued involvement raised the curiosity of locals in the otherwise quiet town, and more onlookers began to arrive at the waterfront wondering what was going on. Milton Crowell, an engineer for Nova Scotia Light and Power, was driving through the area with his family when he heard reports in the local radio of a search being run by the Coast Guard for a mysterious object that had fallen into the harbor from the sky. Crowell, intrigued, drove down to the water and found a group of Mounties investigating the shoreline. Crowell asked them what they were doing, and they responded, frankly and without hesitation, that they were there looking for the remains of a flying saucer that had crashed there days earlier. The divers worked through the following days and nights, and reinforcements were brought in to bring their number up to 7.